Time now to head to Fran's Film Room, presented by Ashley. There he is, a big smile on his face.
What's happening, guys?
Thank God they won, Fran.
We're going to get to, I believe, breaking down all 4 of the Eagles' touchdowns in this game. But before we do that,
that's a good point.
Your general takeaways about, I guess, the attack plan on offense and what you saw from Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, it's weird because the numbers, obviously, for Jalen Hurts looked great, and there were some great plays in the game, but I don't know. I watched the same game that you guys did at halftime. I didn't feel great about the pass game or the offense leaving the second quarter and coming up here to get stuff ready and watch you guys at halftime. So weird performance. I am excited to go back and watch it on tape, but certainly Jalen Hurts, this was one of his better games, certainly for this season.
Yeah, Fran, I thought we talked about it earlier, but I thought that 3rd and 15 dart to AJ on the sideline, that was the game. I thought that was one of the best Jalen Hurts plays I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, he ripped a couple of those throws. I mean, there was the in break or the deep in cut to DeVonta Smith off play action. We'll talk about that, the under center play action in this game. But there were a number of throws in this game that certainly, kind of said like, all right, like Jalen's feeling it today.
Yeah. I mean, you come in here as the owner of a swooper with under center play action. This was, you must have been going nuts.
Well, I'm just glad that we don't have to relitigate this for next week. I mean, I'm sure you will find a way, but I'm glad that we don't have to, talk about how, we're going to bump this down and I shouldn't be allowed to keep that moving forward in perpetuity. But they took care of business on that end today.
Do you think that this was something they saw was going to be effective against this defense in particular, or it was just something they wanted to add to their bag on offense?
My guess is that it's something that they felt like, all right, we have to do a little bit more of this, right? At least we have to incorporate more play action into our attack. And it's funny because we saw that the under center play action was obviously a big part of it. I'll be interested to look back at the numbers on the shotgun play action end of things as well. But just overall, my guess is they said, all right, this is something we want to see an uptick in. I doubt that it was game plan specific. I mean, I guess we'll find out next week when they play the Giants and see if they go back to the way that they played the first few games. But I do think that this is just something where, hey, like, how can we improve what we're doing schematically? Well, let's turn this dial up a little bit here when it comes to the play action pass.
And before we get into the touchdowns and the grabby grabs, Fran, what looks wrong to you with the running game?
It's one of those things where, we went, what was it? It was a couple weeks ago. Was it after the Bucs game where we just went and watched every single Saquon Barkley run? And it was something different every single time. And typically in football, when it's something, the one side of the ball is hurting in one facet, it's never really one specific thing. And I feel that way about this run game where, I don't know that it's just one player. I think last week everyone would have pointed to Brett Toth and said like, oh, it's his problem. But even before he came back into the lineup for Cam Jurgens in this game, they were still having issues running the football. So I do think that at the end of the day, left tackle, left guard, center, not 100%, not the level that they were playing last year. You're not getting the Pro Bowl quality play that you got from the right guard spot. And I think that, at the end of the day, the teams are also gearing up to be able to stop the run. There's a lot of players geared, out with the line of scrimmage. That didn't stop them a year ago. But also that's why there's going to be regression to the mean when you're talking about leaning on 60-yard runs, as far as, being one of the lifebloods of your offense. And I think we have seen that a little bit over the course of this season. Some of those runs that hit last year obviously have not hit this year. What's Saquon's longest run? 19 yards so far through 7 games.
Fran, scramble drills really benefited the Eagles today. Is that just, I don't know how to say it, a more conscious effort by DeVonta and AJ to, think of coming back to plays? Did you notice anything off of that and why the scramble drills? Because we've talked about it in the first 6 weeks, how they've sucked this year at the scramble drill. It seemed to really be in tune today.
Scramble drill is, I would say I would almost equate it to defensively like turnovers, where every coaching staff is going to say like, we work really, really hard on this. We work really hard on drilling it. But at the end of the day, there is a sense of like randomness to scramble drills
Sure.
where, all right, the quarterback breaks the pocket and chaos ensues. And while it is orchestrated chaos, all the receivers have jobs to do in terms of, all right, the quarterback breaks left. Here's how I have to cut my route off. Someone's working to the sideline. Someone's working back to the football. Someone's working downfield. Everybody has their roles as the play ensues a little bit, and it's incumbent upon the quarterback to be on the same page as those routes. But at the end of the day, like they're all going to look a little different. They're all going to feel a little different, and you're going to go through some dry spells there where those just don't hit. And that's again one of the issues with playing outside of structure as often as you do. If you're going to lean into randomness, like sometimes it's going to come back to bite you. And I think that you're kind of feeling that a little bit here in this game. And obviously it started with the opening drive. They were able to capitalize on a 4th down scramble drill with A.J. Brown.
What a transition, Fran, as you
This guy's a pro.
breaking down the first touchdown to A.J. Brown where Jalen sort of calls it out. What did you see there?
Yeah, well, let's go to the first one. This is actually, it's going to be AJTD will be the first one we're going to do here. And it was the opening drive, and it's 4th and 4. This is what their longest drive of the first 2.5 quarters, because after that, we saw a string of 3 and outs from this offense. But you see, you're going to have what looks to be some kind of a pressure look here from the Minnesota Vikings and from Brian Flores here. So you're showing pressure, and the Eagles have seen a lot of these looks in recent weeks, but is it going to be pressure, or are they going to fall out in coverage? It turns out on this play that they fall back into coverage. If we go to the next play, you'll see that one of the defensive linemen there, he's going to drop out. A couple of the other defenders that were mugging up on the line of scrimmage, they are going to drop out. So it's just a 3-man rush. We didn't get a great look of the replay, but it looks like some kind of variant of cover 2 where you've got 2 high safeties, and that's why you end up having a safety and Josh Metellus matched up on A.J. Brown. You see him at the top of the screen here. If we go to the next shot, and you can see that Metellus is matched up on A.J. Brown in space. That's an advantage, certainly for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts is looking to his right. He's trying to work the right side of the screen. Dallas Goedert works a double move down the seam here. So he's going to act as if he's running a little stick route at the sticks, and then he's going to work towards the middle of the field. That's going to occupy that defender on that side. I'm pretty sure that's Isaiah Rodgers here. He's going to occupy Isaiah Rodgers. Now, what that does is when Jalen Hurts now breaks structure here, because the timing is all blown at this point. Once he knows the ball's not out at the top of his drop, all right, now even if he's not running around, you're in scramble drill mode. And so if we go to the next shot, we all saw this in the broadcast where he basically points to A.J. Brown. Now you're outside the structure of the play, and he says, all right, you work upfield now. Even though I'm not rolling, I want you to start going into scramble drill rules. He sends A.J. Brown up the field, and A.J. Brown outruns the safety. You go to the next shot here in the last one. He outruns it. Great touch throw from Jalen Hurts. He puts it in a mailbox there down the field, drops it in for a touchdown.
I feel like Occupy Isaiah Rodgers is the political movement we all need to get behind.
I think there's more pressing matters at hand.
All right, let's get to the next touchdown pass. And this came on your beloved under center play action, a 79-yard bomb
That was
to
crazy.
DeVonta Smith as the Eagles looked like they were a little bit stuck on offense coming out of the half. Jalen Hurts bombs away.
Yeah, well, let's go to this is the DeVonta Smith deep post route, and they come out with 12 personnel set, 2 receivers with 2 tight ends on the field. You have Dallas Goedert, and the second tight end is Fred Johnson.
Who's been calling for it, Franny?
In this game, we saw a lot of it where you had extra offensive linemen out on the field in those situations, and it wasn't just the run game. Now, what they did the first few plays, EJ, and I were texting, and we said, yeah, they've run this a few times, but they're running the same play out of it constantly. And so the first 3 times, what we saw, if we go to the next shot, is you're going to see that Saquon Barkley just basically, it's a stretch toss play. They're tossing it to the strong side, and they're running it behind Fred Johnson and Dallas Goedert, to the field side, to the wide side of the field. Now, what's interesting about that is that when they come out and they run a play action fake here, if you go to the next shot, it is the opposite kind of action, right? And so this goes to show, not everything, it's not necessarily, it's got to match up perfectly with what we're doing, right? We want to make sure we sell. If we're running the outside stretch toss action with Saquon, well, we need to mirror that and pair that up. No, get into these heavy sets. You can sell run, and you can still occupy the eyes of the defense the way that you want to. Now, one of the big things, if you come out in this way and you come out heavy personnel, 6 offensive line, what's the reaction going to be from the safety or from the defense? Typically, you're going to roll that safety, the extra safety, down towards the line of scrimmage, which means you're going to play with a single high safety down the field, right? So you're basically dictating to the defense, this is how we want you to play. We want you to play single high safety. And now we can run route concepts that attack single high safety coverage. And that's what the Eagles call here. It's a beautiful post-cross combination where you've got DeVonta Smith running the post over the top, and then you've got A.J. Brown running the crosser. Now, if they do a good job of picking this up, you've got Dallas Goedert running the shallow cross underneath it as well. But this is basically Jalen Hurts off play action from a super clean pocket, reading that safety. Does he have the ability to take this post away over the top? Is he in position to be able to take that away? If he is, then I'm going to hit A.J. Brown on the deep dig. If he's not, then it's going to go bombs away to DeVonta Smith. And you could see that Jalen is reading this safety here, and he puts this perfectly to DeVonta Smith just inside the far hash mark, and he's able to go in for a long touchdown, the longest of DeVonta Smith's career. So really good execution, good schematics, good game planning, like everything, all the positive things we can say there about that play schematically and from an execution standpoint for the Eagles pass game.
I wonder what you think about the identity search, as we've talked about it, Fran, because if this team is not going to be able to sustain drives thanks to the running game, do you think that they should be inviting this kind of high upside, bombs away kind of offense?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we were hinting at a couple of weeks ago after the Tampa Bay win, where, they went out, they jump out an early lead on the Bucs. And in that game a year ago, honestly, over the majority of the last few years, the identity of the Eagles offense would dictate, all right, second half, we're going to come out and we're going to chokehold this team. We're going to come out. It's going to be like an anaconda tightening its prey. It's going to be 10-minute drives. We're going to go, 20 plus plays, and we're just going to bleed this game out, and we're going to win by 3 scores. Well, they have not been able to run the ball in that way. So you come back and we talked about this is going to be the answer. They threw a lot last week against the Giants, even though they had some early run game success in that one. They went out and it became more of a throwing game, and they didn't have success. So now it's like, all right, well, you're almost back to square one. Like, are they a running team? Are they a throwing team? How is that going to play out? The fact that they were able to have this success, hopefully that gives them a little bit of confidence, and they can keep that positive momentum rolling going into next week at the Link.
All right, one more touchdown pass to break down, and that is the second to A.J. Brown from, I believe, 26 yards out.
This was also another single high situation, wasn't it? I think Jalen might have motioned to A.J. into this look.
It was. So let's take a look at it. This is going to be the AJ post. So they come out in a condensed formation here. So you got 12 personnel once again on the field with 2 tight ends, in the formation now. And so you've got AJ Brown and DeVonta Smith stacked on top of each other before the snap of the ball. Well, they send AJ Brown in motion. If you go to the next shot, you can see that AJ gets pushed out wide. You've got some kind of man coverage look here, and just judging by the pre-snap look, they assume that they've got man-to-man coverage. And when Jalen Hurts takes the snap and drops back, you can just watch his eyes. He's looking right at the post safety, because right now that safety is the only guy that can take this route away. If A.J. Brown does his job outside the numbers, then Jalen has to worry about that safety to make sure he doesn't jump the post, right? So he's going to hold that safety. He's got a route coming from the tight end position in the backside. You can see Goddard working vertically down the seam here. And now, as soon as he hits the top of his drop, after staring at that safety, you can already see he's cocking his arm back to throw and cut this loose to A.J. Brown on the outside post route. So DeVonta Smith, he did a great job. We don't see it in the frame here. I'm excited to break this down on film tomorrow. But DeVonta Smith, he's got to win inside and hold that safety. Jalen's got to hold his eyes there in the middle of the field to also hold that safety. And it's up to A.J. Brown. He has got to beat his man outside. He has got to make sure he gets outside leverage, or inside leverage rather. And it's exactly what he gets here on this play. He does a great job of working inside Byron Murphy, and Jalen puts it on him. You can see the 2 defenders in the frame that I don't have circled there. DeVonta did his job. Jalen did his job. A.J. did his job, and it resulted in a touchdown.
Okay. Now let's talk about the defense, as we have finished with the offense. Nice job there, Franny. This was a defense that made big plays in this game. Maybe wasn't consistent on a play-in, play-out basis, but made the big plays, and starting with a really good call by Vic Fangio to flummox our old friend Carson Wentz.
Yeah, this was one where, where is the pass rush going to come from? What is this offensive line from Minnesota going to look like? They ended up getting a couple of their starters back, but the Eagles were still able to find ways to pressure and harass Carson Wentz throughout the course of the afternoon. And we could see here on this play that you've got a 5-down look here where you've got the 2 edge rushers, 3 defensive linemen, and then potentially Zach Bond rushing here. You've got the extra linebacker there, potentially rushing from depth here. So the Minnesota Vikings, protection-wise, schematically, like on a whiteboard, this looks good. They actually did it where you've got the 5 down. All right, your 5 offensive linemen are going to handle these 5 defensive linemen. And then the running back, he's going to account for the linebacker, Zach Bond, if he blitzes. So Carson Wentz, he knows what the protection is. So he said, all right, if the running back gets sucked in here, that means it's a blitz because Zach Bond is coming here downhill from depth. Well, if you go to the next shot, you could see that you've got multiple edge rushers dropping out. Both Jalix Hunt and Jahad Campbell on this play drop out in coverage. So when those guys drop out, this is a sim pressure where you've got Zach Bond. He does blitz. That's going to occupy the running back. And then you've got the 3 defensive tackles, interior linemen, all pressuring the quarterback as well. So it's a 4-man rush. You drop the 2 edge rushers out. Vic Fangio has done this a couple of times here this year, and this one is really well executed. But the reason why I brought up the protection rules and Carson Wentz understanding what the protection is, if you go to the next shot, you're going to see that the running back, he steps up, and Wentz knows, all right, the running back stepped up here. That means that Zach Bond's coming. It's a blitz. I got to get the ball out fast. I'm going to work the middle of the field. If it looked like it was man coverage before the snap, this middle of the field route to Justin Jefferson should be wide open here. So I think he feels, all right, I'm going to be hot on this play. You could see Jalen Carter is about to deliver a big hit on Carson Wentz. So he knows that he's hot on this play. That's one of the beautiful things about these plays too, guys, is that if you do have dominant defensive linemen that can win one-on-ones, these kinds of looks, they put the pressure on the offensive line where, yeah, you have to block one-on-one. Because you've got to make sure that those edge rushers are accounted for. If all 6 of those guys come, you don't want to make sure that any of them are cut free. So it's going to be really important for all of your guys to be able to hold up one-on-one. Jalen Carter wins here. He gets home, delivers a hit on Carson Wentz. But Jalix Hunt is sitting there right in the passing lane because he wants to be able, Carson Wentz wants to be able to hit that blitz beater in the middle of the field. Justin Jefferson, there's Jalix Hunt waiting as the hole player underneath. He jumps this route in the former college safety. He had a dropped interception a couple of weeks ago, so I'm sure that he was jonesing for one of these to get payback, and he was able to come up with this when you go to the last shot here. He comes up with it and takes it back to the house.
It make you jealous, Vinny?
You know what? It looks like that. Fran, remember the play James Harrison had on that Kurt Warner in the Super Bowl? It looked like that play.
Yeah, it's a similar kind of idea. It's one of the things is like even the best quarterbacks here, you're going to get fooled by pressures like that one.
What did you think, Fran, of what we talked about with the adjustment to the base defense with Nakobe Dean on the field and Jahad Campbell on the edge?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see if that does continue here moving forward. Because really what we're seeing, all right, when the Eagles played, when they faced 12 personnel, so you got 2 tight ends out in the field, the Eagles responded with base defense, which meant, all right, Nakobe Dean's going to come out. He's going to play next to Zach Bond. Jahad Campbell becomes an outside linebacker. Now, to me, when I was projecting Jahad Campbell as having pass rush upside, that's more in your rush package, not necessarily in your base defense where you have the threat of the run being incorporated into this, because he is going to be an undersized pass rusher as an off-ball linebacker. So for him to be able to hold up consistently at the point of attack, against tackles and against tight ends, that could be a little bit of a chore for him early on in his career. So I am interested to see if that does continue, if they do make some additions here early in the week to that edge group. Is that something where, all right, that's going to be a 1-week thing? Nakobe did flash. Like, I don't know. So I don't know if it's necessarily, we don't want to, are we going to take him off the field now? That will be interesting to see how that rotation works out.
All right. Go ahead.
Fran, a coworker of ours has been mentioned in the news this week. Looks like some help is probably coming. If he comes and Nolan Smith returns, and let's just assume for the sake of the conversation that he's the old 55 we all kind of know. Is cornerback 2 a more pressing need than the defensive edge room, in your opinion, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, if you get Nolan back and he's healthy, and if the scenario plays out the way that you're saying, where you get Brandon Graham and it's 2024 version of Brandon Graham, then you're probably in good shape. I think that you're certainly in better shape than you have been for the last few weeks. Now, I do think that it's a question of whether or not both of those things are going to happen. Or I don't think that that's a guarantee, especially next week against the Giants or after the bye. I think after the bye, you're probably hoping that you're pretty close to that level. But I don't think that that's a given That said, they're going to have to figure corner. How are the ways that they can mitigate the issues they're having at corner? I think they could still coach around it, but that's going to be something that they have to work on week after week.
Well, Vinny, I want to hear your thoughts here when you heard the report of the possibility that Brandon Graham might be on retiring, considering it.
Man, I don't even. If I know, listen. B, what is there to consider, man? Bring your ass back, man. Damn. Bring your ass back, man. Let me tell y'all, let's remember now. Let's go back. Who was the one to say, hey, put all your cards on the table, let's air this out now? Was everybody's problem?
That's right.
Okay, now BG's considered to come back. Will look like today everybody's clicking on offense. Whoa, is that a coincidence?
Yeah.
I wonder so.
Maybe a little, just as much for the locker room presence.
You need to be there, bro. You need to be there. This is where the word veteran leadership is important. He needs to be there, and he could bring those young guys. Listen, the young guys are playing well, but they could be playing way better, and he could bring them up to speed. And we're going to be all right. So I'm loving it. I'm loving the whole scenario thing.
In theory, all of this very speculative.
Yeah.
He is a different kind of player than they have on the edge right now.
Right.
He can set an edge in the run game.
They could, the run defense is struggling. I think that is as big of a factor as the pass rush, and his physicality is something that they don't quite have. However, they did find a way to manufacture some edge rush pressure in this game, Fran, including a red zone sack by Josh Uche.
Yeah, a big play in the game because you remember Minnesota goes down, they convert on 4th down, so now they get some momentum. Maybe they're going to try and see if they can sneak a touchdown in before the 2-minute warning. And I really like the front that they come out in on this play. It's 1st and 10, and you've got Jahad Campbell mugged up over the guard, and you've got the rest of the offensive line loaded to the opposite side. So you've got Jalen Carter right next to, I've got Campbell circled there. Right next to him over the center is Jalen Carter. Then next to him, you've got Jordan Davis towards the top, and you got Josh Uche at the top. So right off the snap, I'm like, all right, like this is a rush package look on 1st and 10. What are they going to run here on this play? And Minnesota basically handles, all right, we're going to go 5 versus 5. It's going to be 1 versus 1, big on big here on this play. If you go to the next shot, you're going to see that Jahad Campbell does not blitz here. He basically he bluffs, and he just is going to occupy that left guard. The left guard stays trained on Jahad Campbell. The running back, he's kind of drifting. He wanted to make sure that nobody is going to blitz from the second level. All right, no Zach Bond, no safety, no nickel. All right, now I'm going to drift out. But the left guard is occupied. And so now we're going to shift our attention over to the opposite side where you've got 3 versus 3 at the top, and the Eagles are running basically just pick and roll basketball here. It's 2 versus 2. Jordan Davis is going to be the picker on the stunt, and Jalen Carter is going to work behind him. So Jordan Davis, he's going to punch the guard on that side, and then Jalen Carter is going to loop behind him and try and attack the center and try and get after Carson Wentz. So they're running a TT stunt on that side opposite of Jahad Campbell. Now, what I like here from Jordan Davis, if we go to the next shot, is that he gets full extension and jacks that guard up into the backfield just for a step, and he forces the guard to step on Brian O'Neill's foot. So there's a little bit of a collision there. So we're going Zapruder film here. We're going to circle. You can see point exactly where those guys have that collision with their feet. And now Josh Uche, he just gives Brian O'Neill just a little bit of a shove. And now O'Neal ends up on the ground, and O'Neal's able to close for a sack. Jahad Campbell actually was spying there on that play, which was important because, we saw that Carson Wentz made some plays with his feet in this game as well. And so you had Jahad Campbell there as a spy just in case, but Josh Uche was there to be able to clean up. Really nice job. Good execution from Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter working the stunt inside. But more importantly, like the putting Jahad Campbell up on the line of scrimmage to mug the guard and occupy the guard. If he's not there, well, now the guard is working inside and he's able to pick up the stunt and help those guys out. And maybe that doesn't happen, and that maybe that sack does not occur. And so just good scheme, good execution overall from Vic Fangio's unit and from that rush group.
Brian, it's just a matter of time before they start scheming Jahad Campbell up to put him in some of the pass rush mix, whether it's, different type of games or anything. That's another plus of adding Big 55 back there, because we all see 55 in the Chip Kelly era play off the ball and involve him in defensive line stunts.
And that's like a thing where, and I'm not saying it's for our viewers at home. Like that's more on Jahad Campbell's plate, and I do wonder how wary they are of throwing too much at the rookie. Is like, all right, we're gonna incorporate you into maybe like one package from a rush standpoint. We want to throw too much at you early, but it requires such like a feel in terms of being able to work on the timing with those guys. So that's going to be something I'm excited to monitor with Jahad Campbell moving forward. Is how they're able to incorporate him not just as like a blitzer from depth, and you all know some of these sim pressures. They've done that. They can do that, but putting him up on the line of scrimmage in these rush situations, and then saying, "All right, you're gonna run a game with Jalen Carter, or you're gonna be a looper here on this stunt with like a pirate stunt inside." Like that could. There's a lot of fun possibilities with Campbell from that role as well.
Fran, nobody, and I mean nobody, does it better than you. Thank you so much. What are we going to be looking forward to as you break things down from the actual film tomorrow at 2:00 on the PHLY Eagles regular PHLY Eagles show? What's the first thing you're going to be looking forward to figuring out?
I think I'm excited to look at the pass game and just see, like, I know the completion numbers were really good for Jalen, but what were some of the missed opportunities in the first half? Because just that, again, I didn't have a good taste in my mouth coming up here to my office during halftime. So I'm excited to see what the offense looked like in the first half. Was there meat left on the bone there? What did that look like? And did things just kind of open up schematically?